Okay. Welcome everybody to the very first ever. We're gonna calling Funnel Crafters Power Lunch, and it's a little late for lunch, but it's Friday, and we had a lot of things to do this morning, so I'm coming in a little bit later. But I wanted to like make these a little bit more regular, so I thought it's like can do it around lunchtime would be awesome, just to be able to do it over and over again. So yeah, welcome. I asked a few days ago some of the content that you guys wanted to know about. And I got a lot of different things. Funnels, of course, right? I got things about traffic and then about being practical. Those are the big three that I got. And so I wanted to make sure that those are the kind of things that I want to cover. But then there's also some of you that wanted to have more like mindset, make sure that people are actually in the right mindset, meaning that a lot of times we want things to happen a lot faster than what they do. I love that quote from Tony Robbins where he says, people usually overestimate what they can do in a year, but they well underestimate what they can do in 10 years, right? In a decade. And it's like, the next 10 years going to happen whether you like it or not, right? But if you do things and set things up the right way in the beginning, it'll make it so that you can actually have a lot more success. So those are the kind of things that I want to make sure that everybody has. Like, think about what you're doing, but also make it super, super attractive to people to want to do things. I'm going to look over here real quick. I just want to make sure that we did go live on all the different platforms. I think I'm streaming to 3 or 4 of them right now. And oh, of course, that one's not doing. Actually, I'm going to show you something about that one real quick. Let me refresh this one. I think Facebook is live. It is. YouTube. Let's double check over there real quick. And not sure if I'm live on YouTube. It's not showing me over here anyway. We'll go check that one out a little bit. And I'm going to try to do some things in Twitch. Definitely. That one is working. All right, there we go. So, and Twitch is more of a lot of people use it for either you're a gamer, right, and you like to show people what you're doing. Other people, a lot of artists use it to just be doing lives and singing and doing whatever else artists do. And then, of course, people like me trying to help other people out. So I'm going to try it out and see how that goes over there. But yeah, everything's working. So let me share because I'm a little bit unscripted today, but I did make some slides for you guys so you can follow along. So talking about traffic today, right? And traffic, there's all kinds of traffic out there. Like literally, I could not, nobody can name how many places you can actually get traffic from. It's huge. A lot of times we're not thinking about it the right way, and we think that there's no place to go to get traffic, and there's too much people there already trying to buy traffic that's similar to you. There's always another place that you can actually find. But I'm going to talk about traffic in a couple of different ways. Whether they're paid traffic, or whether it's free, and then whether it's slow traffic, like it's hard to get things going there, or whether it's fast. And there's actually a little bit of both for both of those things. So let me share my screen over here real quick. Let's go ahead and go here. All right, so this is what I'm calling my traffic quadrant. Okay, and as you can tell at the very top, you can actually see where it says paid. So anything above the middle, it's paid stuff. At the bottom, you see free. So anything below the middle, it's free. Everything to the left, it's kind of slow. It's some of it, it's worth doing, but it's going to take a little bit more time for it to work. And there's stuff on the right. It's all the stuff that can actually very quickly get you customers, right? So this is what I wanted to share this with you, because a lot of times we're only thinking about one kind of traffic. Maybe I'm in Facebook, so I'm only going to thinking about Facebook traffic, and that's it. And some people think, well, I'm just starting out. I don't have anybody following me, right? How am I going to do that without doing paid? Well, that might be an option for you, right? But if it's not, what other things do you have? So let's go over these right here. I'm going to start on the bottom left, right, where it says slow. And some of the things that I've tried in the past, believe it or not, and I can tell you from experience whether they worked for me or not. So looking for some of these. So things like, well, I should say free, but it's actually some of it are low cost, right? Like literally, I did flyers. Flyers, again, at very slow cost. You can actually, if you have a copier machine, right, you can copy a bunch of flyers and it costs you next to nothing. Or maybe road signs. I actually hired one guy to make me like hundreds of road signs one time. And I didn't have the time to actually put them out. So actually they would actually go out to the main intersections in the town that I was in and the nearby areas and put them in big intersections. And you've seen those yards, the signs of the side of the road. It just creates clutter. A bunch of other people, once you find a good place, a lot of people start thinking about it, and they start putting yours next to theirs. And then before you know it, you have a ton of things. And of course, if you live in town, a lot of towns don't like for you to actually be putting signs anywhere you want to. If you're outside of town, you can probably get away with it, but it's just messy, right? And it doesn't do much for you. Literally, I think out of the, I don't know, I probably put 1,000 signs up. I might have gotten 2 calls. That's a lot. And then none of them bought, by the way. So, and this was for a service business, actually for my window tinting business. So it wasn't like it was an online thing. It was actually doing things and very much needed. A lot of people were paying for it. Obviously, I did business for 30 years in Southwest Florida. It's a good business to be in down there. So it wasn't that people didn't want it. Things. It's not top of mind. You're driving, and unless maybe if you're hot, but we didn't do cars. We did homes. Maybe if you're hot and you're driving your car, you're thinking, oh yeah, I need to call those people, right? I got to get rid of this heat, especially right now. Everybody's hot everywhere. But it just didn't do very well. Same thing with flyers. I mean, I was one of those guys that would go to Walmart and shopping centers and supermarkets and put flyers on people's windshields. Like literally thousands. Actually, after a while, I actually hired some kids to actually go out there and put them all over the place. And to me, that's terrible because it just creates a lot of waste. Just people throw them out. They fly out because I don't even see them sometimes, and they start driving and they fly out and they just create litter. So I don't like to do that either anymore. But I've done it. Especially back in my 20s, I did all kinds of stuff to try to get business. And I would suggest that you probably not do those kind of things. You need thousands of them. And in order to get very few things back, and it takes a lot of time. It's not just the flyers, it's like a lot of time doing it and not much coming back. Lunch and learns, sometimes you guys have other things like maybe BNI meetings, right? Same idea. It's like where you go and meet other people and talk to them about your business and do a little networking. I'm not saying not to do that. I'm saying that takes time. It takes time to build up those relationships. It takes time for it to actually work. Now, it's slow and it's free. You decide whether you want to do it, right? I think for some businesses, it's definitely worth it. You can get a lot of business out of doing those kinds of things, but don't expect it to be quick. Like you're not going to go to one meeting. Actually, I just did one locally here for a new business that I started, another service business that I started, and local business, right? Not online or anything like that. Even though we'll have an online presence, but it's not meant to be nationwide or worldwide, right? It's just local, and and it was funny because you get to meet a lot of people. And you get to pass a lot of cards out, but not much comes out of those things. And I just wanted to see how how people were supporting the Chamber of Commerce locally and things like that. So it was worth it to me to do it. But would I be doing this every month or every week? Probably not, right? Social media, though, again, slow. YouTube, slow. Is it worth it? I think so. I truly think so. A lot of people don't want to do it, but I think it's over time you can actually get a lot of loyal people to listen to you in social media. And just to give you like a background, I actually grew a page, and it was actually Positive Inspirational Quotes. It was called PIQ, Positive Inspirational Quotes, and we did a lot of quotes that just inspired people, and we grew that in Facebook up to over 2 million likes on there, right? And we had a lot of traffic from that, a lot of traffic. But this was before Facebook went public and before they changed the algorithm so that very few people actually see it. Now, if you have 1.2 million, you probably can still get some traffic, but it's not as much as you would think. Just Facebook is not the place to be for that kind of thing right now. Now, yeah, if you're doing something maybe these days, doing it in other platforms, other than Facebook, yeah, TikTok and things like that, where you put it out there and maybe 1,000 people see it versus 10, right? It might be worth it to do it, and it might be a little bit quicker too. So something to keep in mind as you're doing this, right? Moving forward from social media, blogging and podcasting. To me, both of those are very much still a real thing. Blogging, if you're a writer, oh man, that should be your jam. You should be writing content, to people the things that people want to hear about from you. Huge thing to be doing. Again, something that is going to last a very, very long time. Social media, not so much unless it's YouTube. YouTube works really well because it over time can bring you traffic over and over again because people do search, and then there's some search results there. Social media like Facebook, Instagram, not so much. People are not looking at your old stuff and not bringing it to mind, right? But blogging and podcasts both have a life, get their life of their own, right? And you want to be doing that as much as you can, whichever one you like. If you like to interview people, do podcasts, right? If you like to actually write a lot, and you write in a way that's actually very attractive, very informational, but also entertaining, right? Same thing with a podcast, right? You want to be entertaining. So any one of those here can work. Out of those, you have to pick which one do you rather do. And I just gave you two that are not going to work very well, at least not for a long time. Flyers and lunch and learns or any kind of networking. Those are going to take a long time. A lot of businesses actually promote that, and that's how they do business. I found them to be very slow and not if you're looking at something that to grow over the next 4 or 5 years to what you can do probably online in the next 6 months to a year. Big difference right there as far as how fast you can grow. So keep those in mind. All right. Now let's go over to free but fast. This is where I like to be at, right? Referrals. A lot of you don't ask for referrals. If you get a client and you close them, there was a group of people that were called it's back in the day, guerrilla marketing, right? And they talked about how hard it is to get a customer, right? How expensive it is to get a brand new customer. So two things you want to do. You want to be able to repurpose that customer, get them, to do more with you. And second thing, you want to get referrals. Huge thing. You can get referrals. A lot of times you can get business a lot quicker because you got a referral and say, hey, they just did mine. You might want to do this because, I saw you told me about it the other day. That referral, that's just a word of mouth thing that happens. Huge things, right? Everybody knows about it, but a lot of people just don't even ask. And there's no reason not to. They're happy with your work right at that time when you're getting paid, right? That's the best time to ask for referrals. So make sure that you're doing that. To me, that's one of the big ones. Another one, email. Like, obviously, if you have an email list. Now, if you don't have an email list, it's not free and it's not fast because you got to grow it. But it's one of those things that it's worth doing over time. Once you have that list, like literally, give you a story about email. This is when I first started, but it was fun to learn this in the way that it was, because back then I was in Florida. I was playing golf all the time, and the story stuck with me. So I was actually this guy that I was learning from back then. This is back 2005, 2008, somewhere around there, early on in my career online, right? And he was talking about how he asked his friend to come. He was actually in town. He had flown in and he wanted to go play golf. And he's like, oh, I'd love to, but I didn't bring my clubs. They're not with me. He said, don't worry about it. Which kind of clubs do you like? Oh, I like ping. Okay, no worries. Come on, we'll take care of it. So what'd he do? He went and they met up. They went to play golf, right? And while he was there, he went to the pro and then to the pro shop. And they said, hey, do you guys have any ping, that we can actually use and borrow and test out? And they said, yes, right? So unbeknownst to his friend, he went and bought that ping set for him. And he was like, like something that you can take anywhere you want to. And he got him a case that he can actually travel with, all kinds of stuff that he didn't expect. Well, at the end of the game, he tells him, hey, those are yours. He said, no, what? No, I can't do this. Like $1,200, right? I can't take those. And he was like, no, you don't understand. It's okay. He goes, what do you mean it's okay? Well, before we came to play, I sent out an email, and the time that it took me to go from you to get to my house and we came out here, I already had covered that in the sales that I made for my emails. Boom, right? Like, it just blew my mind when I heard that story. It's like, email list is huge, right? You have to have an email list, and it also is very fast, right? And again, next to no price at all. Like, literally, you can have an email, for like $1 a month, and then being able to send out marketing emails. You might have a system like I use. My system, it already includes it in part of creating funnels and things like that. So literally virtually free, which is awesome. Texting, of course, is very similar to email. use it sparingly, use it wisely, and it will work for you. If you text too much, probably more than a couple of times a week, it starts to lose its value, but definitely a huge thing. To me, this one down here, as far as free goes, that this is the one you want. Podcast interviews. Why? Well, I have another slide here. There is this guy that wrote The Ultimate Sales Machine. It's a book. You should get it. You can still get it at Amazon. But Chet Holmes introduced the world to the Dream 100. What is that? Dream 100 is people that have actually congregated your people for you, right? That already have that the people that will most likely buy from you, they already gather around them, right? So to me, being in a pot, like getting interviewed by somebody that already has an audience, right? In the field, like the kind of podcast that they have is in your field. Like, if you're doing cabinets, maybe it's somebody that creates cabinets, or maybe he has a show that shows how to make cabinets and how to get shortcuts or how to do little tricks or whatever, right? That's your show. That would be part of what we call the Dream 100, right? But it'll be a podcast that you want to be in. Now, you have to have something of value for somebody to want to interview you. So this is where it's a 1-2 punch, right? To me, the easiest way to get on somebody's podcast is to either have your own podcast, your own blogging platform, or a growing, I should say, it doesn't have to be big, a growing social media presence somewhere. What happens? Well, people get to see you, first of all. Second, they can bring you on, to their podcast, but then you can bring them over to your platform, right? And interview them. And that reciprocity of being able to actually, they help you, you help them. It's huge in the podcast world, right? But also podcasters as a whole are always looking for really good content. So it's an awesome place to actually try to get into those shows. You have to earn your way there most of the time. Some of them are paid, but most of them are going to be earn your way in. So find ways that you can actually be someone that can help them out, right? Some people say, well, some of the podcasters are actually my competition, right? So you don't want to be butting heads with somebody else. They're not going to have you as somebody that want to interview you, right? If you're not going to help them out. So what do you want to do? You want to go out there and be somewhere that complements whatever they're doing. So try to get on those podcasts with something that they're not doing for their customers. Their customers would love to have that too, right? And then you can come out there and talk to them. That's going to be huge for you guys. I'll give you one. I just don't want to spend a lot of time, but there's a story that I want to share with you for purposes of being able to be in somebody else's world, right? So this wasn't a podcast. This was actually for a webinar. But this is back in the day, before podcasts became a big thing. And I remember following this guy. He had just started getting all kinds of results by blogging, right? His name is David Wood. Some of you guys know him. And in the early days, he was actually living in a van in Hawaii, right? Dead broke, just working part-time just to get by because they wanted to be able to travel the world, right? Him and his wife. So they're out there in Hawaii. Hardly any money at all. They ended up sleeping in their van inside city limits. So a cop in the middle of the night, boom, 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 right? Nobody that's ever done that hates that knock, right? It's like wake me up in the middle of the night to tell me to move. Well, it turned out to be a cop, and they gave him a ticket for more or about the same money that he had in the bank account. So he got all mad, right? And he said, I've had enough of this. I do like this lifestyle, but I need to be able to make money. So he decided to start an online business as an affiliate. But he didn't know anything about it, right? So he went and learned how to do SEO and how to do blogging. And within 3 months, he went from zero to $30,000 a month. And that blows almost anybody's mind that you can actually start a business that quickly and get up to, 5 figures per month. And basically what he did, though, to earn his way to do that wasn't just blogging. It was him blogging, getting the attention of a couple of guys that actually ran one of the affiliate programs that he was working with. Well, they were marketers too, right? But he found a way to actually get in front on the Google search results with his blog. And they were like really fiberglass so that somebody can actually come in brand new that doesn't know what they're doing and get better results in Google than what they were getting, right? And so they just call him up because he was a good affiliate of theirs. So he called him up, hey, do you mind telling me what you're doing so that you can actually get these results? No, sure, I do this, I do that, I use this tool, I use that tool. And he told him what he was doing. And he goes, oh my God, that's huge. Do you mind like coming to our show? Like we do a show every Monday. And you can come in and we can actually, you can actually teach our people that. And he goes, sure. Do you mind if I sell anything? He said, no, it's fine. Sell whatever you want. So he comes in as somebody, right, that knows his stuff because he had gotten really good results. And because he got in front of that group. I mean, the story can go longer, but because he got in front of that group of people that could use his training, right, he was able to go. Actually, I think it was set up to make about $2,000 that month as an affiliate. Because he was able to get in front of those people, he got over the $30,000 mark, and it's a success story to a certain degree because I mean he didn't make anything less than 30 grand for that next year, and he came up with another idea. That's when I actually started working with him. That's how come I know the story. But and that company went from zero, did 200 million in 3 years. It was pretty cool to be part of something that grew that quickly and did that well. He had some other problems and things happened to that company, but that whole idea of being able to actually use your Dream 100. And these days I would do the podcast versus, maybe a YouTube channel, but maybe a YouTube channel is if that's what they have, right? Whatever it is that you can get in front of their people. And in order to do that, remember, have your own platform already going. I've seen a lot of people grow their list as we go, right? Now, there's a couple other paids that are slow and fast. So on the left-hand side, I see direct mail, podcast, postcards. Those do work. I know a lot of people that actually make that work very well. For cold market, postcards seem to work better. Direct mail pieces with sales letters and things like that seem to work better for people that already done business with them before. But both of those work. If you're looking for new customers, you're going to probably do more postcards than anything else. It's going to take you. I would say don't start unless you are okay with doing this every week for 6 months. That's how long it's going to take for that to be financially successful for you. Okay. A lot of people start though, and they don't have the pockets to do that. They don't have that extra money set aside to be actually do something like that every month. So it's slow like that. But once it starts to work in really big numbers. So make sure that if you're doing that, again, it's paid, but it's slow. SEO, same thing. And SEO, the two things that I see with SEO these days, it's taking 6 months to a year to get, to be recognized by Google as an authority site. And that takes a while, right? So again, not bad thing to do, but at the same time, not fasting. You're not going to get really fast results unless you do a couple of things, maybe especially niche markets where you're actually local, right? And nobody else in your market is actually doing a lot of SEO. Then you can probably get a little bit faster results. But yeah, again, and by the way, like people that do blogging and things like that, the people that do it at the high level, it's not free per se. I mean, if you know what you're doing, you can do it, but you still need some tools. And I should mention that. That's how come I put it on the paid side. Blogging without SEO, obviously you can do that on podcasts and things like that I put at the bottom. But if you're going to do SEO, most of the people that I know that do really well, they're spending $300 to $500 a month in tools. So it's not free. Okay. So I thought I mentioned that. And of course, the last one, the one everybody knows about, the paid ads, whether it's made up with, Facebook, or Instagram, of course, TikTok these days, Google ads, pay-per-click campaigns, those do well. Pay-per-click campaigns, there's one particular one. I'll do a training on that because I'm already over what I wanted to go on as far as time on this video. But I'll do another campaign where you can. There's a type of campaign that you can do, especially if you're doing any other ads, or even if you're doing social media or any other ads out there that even interviews, podcasts. People want to research you. There's this particular kind of ads that you can do in Google to make sure that the people can find you, because sometimes your website's not up to snuff, right? When not enough SEO, people can't find you. It's an easy way to get people to find you by doing some pay-per-click ads on that. On that note, though, I want to like wrap this up. I wanted you to understand that there's not one way to do traffic, right? And it's not just all paid and it's not just all free, even though I've seen people do very well with either one of those, right? But really, it's a combination to me. And the way I was taught is, hey, yes, you want to do some of this free stuff, like social media, things like that, right? But you also want to have a way to boost that very quickly. So doing some kind of paid ad along with some of the free things will come in very handy. Now, I have this list here of the different things that I would do these days, right? Definitely a social media, but I will only pick one platform that I'm going to be, very alert to. I might use more than one, because a lot of times, you want to get, if you got a username, you want to use it across all your different social media, because in the long run, you will use the different platforms. I would go get it, right? But I would just be repurposing it for right now, right? Don't worry about, making everything perfect, because each social media is going to be its own learning curve. Once you're big enough and you can hire a social media expert to actually run your social media, then expand to those and make it a thing. But for right now, start with one, right? Podcast. I think that getting on other people's podcasts, more than just having your own. Have your own, of course, if you want to do that, but try to get on other people's podcast. That Dream 100 is huge. It can actually explode your business overnight if you get in front of the right people. Social media ads, Facebook videos per view. Comes in very handy for those of you that like to do videos. You can actually, get in front of more people and get your name known out there a lot faster and a lot less expensive when you do video views versus trying to create leads or create sales in the beginning. Okay. Google pay-per-click. If you're local, I think that's a good one to have. Both to get local leads and to get even sales, like get people on the phone real quick with you and do some kind of sales on the phone. But yeah, that's another one that I would do. And then the one that I wanted to get deeper into in one of these next videos is the branded search campaigns. That'll be huge. But yeah, pick 2 or 3 of these max in the beginning, and make sure that you're doing them on a consistent basis. The way that I was taught, do your free thing, right? Let's say it's social media. Let's say it's podcast. It doesn't matter, right? Do your thing every single day. And then every single day, look for another place to add an ad, like a paid ad. And keep it small. As things, as you see things working, grow it accordingly. Like, about 20% more every time. Don't go out there. I did some of these mistakes where I went in and spend $500-$600 on an ad. It was working, and then I went crazy to $10,000, and the next time around, I got a $25 sale. It was like, oh, that hurt, right? You don't want to put yourself in those situations. Just grow every time that you're actually something's working. Add another small amount, 10-20% extra for the next time around, and learn from your mistakes. And you'll never be able to not afford doing ads, right? Because you didn't go overboard. All right. Hopefully this helped you out a little bit on this. It went a little bit longer than when I went to do that. Let me try to get over here. There we go. And but I wanted to give you guys something to think about, and that quadrant will give you some ideas of what you can do for free, but it might be faster than doing some of the slower things. And keep in mind that everybody should be doing the things that they will actually do. That's the big thing to me. It's like it's about any kind of marketing. It's all about consistency. It's about doing something that you're going to do over and over and over again until you start getting results, because you're going to learn along the way. If you start and stop, it's starting from scratch again. Like you're learning, doing something from scratch again. So don't do that to yourself. Like choose 1 or 2 of these, maybe 3 if it makes sense to you to have 3 of these, and that's it. In the beginning, it's all about free and 1 inexpensive paid ads type campaigns Facebook will teach you a lot about your customers, but you could also do it with pay-per-click. With Google, I started with Facebook didn't even have ads when I started, so I did start with Google pay-per-click way back in the day when it used to be called AdWords. So anyway, but yeah, it's not so much which one you choose, is that you actually do it right, and you actually do it on a consistent basis. All right. Thanks everybody for being here. I feel like I did this. I meant to make 10 minutes, and it's actually 30 minutes. It's about lunch, right? Power lunch, but power lunch should be faster, so you can actually go through this training and go to the next one. But this is the first one. I'll get better at keeping it short. All right, guys. Thank you all for being here. Have a great weekend. I'll see you guys on Monday. Take care.